Welcome to another episode of the Caribbean Currency Podcast, where Caribbean culture meets financial literacy. It's your boy Kyle, my co-host,
Redman.
Redman, my co-host, and of course Sony behind the ones and twos. You're not gonna see her, but you're gonna hear her. She's another co-host of the
Beautiful
pod.
voice.
Yeah, shout out Sony and her beautiful voice. Today, right, we have a dope interview for you guys today.
Our first crucian.
Our first crucian.
Hey, first crucian.
First
There we go.
crucian.
Yeah,
we
man.
gotta make 4 asterisk there. Like, make a start.
You half crucian though.
I am half crucian.
Yeah.
But I ain't full. I claim rock.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I get pushed out in rock. So I'm
Right.
a rock man. All right. Anyway, so we have the co-founder at the gathering spot with 3 locations. You have Atlanta, you have DC, you have LA. All right. An advisor and spokesperson of the Blend Collective. None other than my partner, my homeboy, son of the soil, TK Petersen.
Give thanks. Blessing to be out here.
Of
That
course,
transpired
of
with
course.
that boat.
Don't know.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate you, reciprocating the extension of coming out and just, granting us your time, man.
Yeah,
Bro.
man.
I know you're a busy man.
Very
Hey,
busy,
And
man.
you being here really means a lot, man.
Right.
Yeah, man. It's
Yeah,
a blessing, time, like you say, is the ultimate currency.
Yes, sir.
And, the man has blessed me with his time and support over the years. So I
Definitely.
feel like it's only right to reciprocate.
Definitely,
Right,
definitely,
right.
definitely. Love alone. So we're gonna get into it, man. Just tell us a little bit about you, the upbringing, where you're
Yes, sir.
born and raised, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? The journey of where it started for TK and where is that today? Just give me a little bit of
Yeah,
an
man.
oversight of that.
So yeah, I from St. Croix, so born and raised on the
Croix
island
man.
of St. Croix. Yeah, proud of that.
East or
Um,
west?
I is a Eastman. I is a
Okay.
Eastman.
Okay.
Yeah, and my whole family from Gallows Bay originally.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then but I went high school west.
Okay.
So I graduated from St. Joseph. So I spent a lot
Okay.
of time down west.
Okay.
And then a lot of my friends them is west people too. So I used to
Right.
spend a lot of time west.
Okay.
It was
She's
good
a
times.
traitor.
Oh, I don't know, traitor. It's one big island.
One
you know.
big island. Okay.
One
okay,
big
okay,
island.
okay.
But it's funny. Like, I did grow up in our family.
Right.
The East-West rivalry,
Right,
the
facts.
good nature spirit of it is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
something that my grandmother and I are real into that. It's
Right.
East all day. And the same thing with St. Croix versus St. Thomas
Yeah.
type
Right.
of stuff.
Facts.
But as the journey went on later,
Who's St. John divorces with what island?
St. John just by itself,
Self,
man.
they don't get like
so-
a.
I know, but I don't pick on them. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
man.
It's just because I love them in Switzerland. Everybody
Right.
is a good, it's a
Yeah,
good
like
space to
It's
be.
a good space
you know.
to be right.
It's
Oh.
Okay.
Good guy.
it's a national park.
Yeah.
Essentially 75%. So
That's true.
who could be vexed with a park
National
With a
park,
park.
and some
right.
nice beaches,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it'll give us some of the best press that the whole of the Virgins
Yes,
they get, because you can
facts.
always be like, we got the best beaches in the
Beaches, yeah,
world, and it's
yeah.
like 3 of them down St. John.
John,
Right.
yeah. Facts.
Yeah, I don't know about three of them being at St. John.
I tell you, with the rankings, they said it would be like Trunk Bay and then Hawksness and then
Okay, yeah,
Cinnamon Bay as well.
yeah.
Cinnamon
True.
Bay.
But we got shout out Megan's Bay.
Shout out Megan's Cookie Point. You know what I mean?
Platform,
Vessel.
man. That's the baddest beach and rock. That's
Who?
the
Platform.
We know what that is.
You even know
Never heard about
exactly.
that.
Yeah, fuck
New
New
beach.
beach. Like, you
New
don't been
beach,
down
yeah.
there. What is it,
yeah,
nude
yeah.
bitch?
He talking about the dock. He talking about the dock.
Mhm.
That's
Big
a platform, right? The dock.
Duck, yeah. That's what I'm going when I jump off the duck.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
man, I grew up on St. Croix with my mother and my grandmother. That's essentially who raised me.
Backbone.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. So but I grew up first I live in Caravillas, me and my mother.
Mhm.
And then she ended up getting a better job, and then we ended up getting a house out Welcome Side in St. Croix. And I was fortunate that St. Croix had a good education system for all the schools I went to. Felt like
Right.
I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And that was the thing in our household with my mother and my grandmother, is like,
Old school.
the only thing you gotta do, let's use the time as like your only job is just do good at school.
Mhm.
Right.
Like, I gotta make sure you get food, I gotta make sure you get clothes. Just do that.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
your thing to do.
Yeah.
And so I was also fortunate that when I was in like preschool and stuff like that, I was pretty good at standardized tests and reading already. So
Right.
it's like all the positive feedback loop, because like I was good at school and was getting A's and pluses and stuff. Like, it make me want to be good at school.
Right.
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 And then so it's like that became my thing. I was like, okay, I was going to make sure I'm good at school.
Mhm.
Right.
So,
Right. Right. So after St. Croix College,
hmm
I know because you go to school and that
Yeah.
was your thing. So you definitely went to college. Where you went to college?
I went to Georgetown.
Okay,
In
okay. You went to
Washington,
the big,
D.C.
okay, DC, the capital. How that
Mhm.
was? How that shaped you?
Man, Georgetown changed my whole life, man. It was, so I was made in St. Croix, raised in the Virgins, and that's the core of who I am. And then I would say that I was like refined at Georgetown because that's my first time, I speak for myself as an adult, separate from my family,
And the culture.
taking care of myself.
Yeah.
And then there's a different culture. But even then, because I've been someone that has always spent a good bit of time by myself as the oldest in my family. So like I had a bunch of years by myself. And then so I know that I need some island stuff around me. Like I was an
Right.
island dude, I like island stuff. So that's part of the reason I picked DC because I knew it had a big island community.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
So yeah, saying that to say that even though like, in the States, I still doing island stuff all the time. And it's
Right.
like my roommate in college for most of college is a rock man.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, my
Okay.
partner Jamil. And
Okay.
honestly, like but that's part of what changed my life because like before I was a real like St. Thomas, why are you going St. Thomas for?
Right.
Wow.
We forgive you, bro.
We do, because I don't know.
We understand.
Because
we don't sing.
we went
What we
cruise
doing?
to end up in the bush.
In the
right?
bush.
Sting on that
We
all
used to-
and
yeah,
I gotta think-
Exactly.
So
And
we
that's
did-
what it was. It was like, these man talking about our place. I don't want to go to that man place. It was like, I don't go over there to do what?
Wow.
Right.
And then like man decided they get better beach and better what? And I was like saying something saying get better, get into that whole
Then
thing.
I jumped in out the dock.
But then it's like you there in the bub.
Right.
And you there in the bub and it's like the only person that from the VA is a rock man.
man.
Like, yeah,
You
that's
go-
my dog, man. Yeah, man. One
That's
time.
when you realize, like, like that's what it was for me when I
Mhm.
joined the military. You know what I
Right.
mean? I went away to training. When I see a man and he from the VA, he from St. Croix. You from St. Croix? And it's like, we's brothers now.
Yeah,
And
man.
I mean, we tight.
Mhm.
So I definitely
Because
feel that.
it's proximity, it's an understanding where it's
Mhm.
like you have an ability to have a connection point
Yeah.
and you have some type of similar perspective on
Yeah.
things.
Mhm.
So it's like when I was a freshman at Georgetown, first couple of days, everybody I meet would be like, "Yo, have you met the other guy from where you're from?"
Mhm.
And
Right.
I was like, so it's like the whole first day, or like maybe the half of the first day we meet, everybody we meet saying that you gotta meet the next person. So we end up things like on Facebook, we are connecting. It was like,
Right.
"Yo, we'll meet by the student center,"
Mhm.
and then we are click. We are just it was like, "Oh, this man cool, bad man."
Mhm.
Right.
And then a heap of his partners from Rock was going school in DC too, at like Howard and
Yeah.
American and
Mhm.
George Washington. So I went from not knowing nobody on St. Thomas to like all of my closest partner them in DC is all St. Thomas people.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you something, right? My life get better when I start meeting Crucians and befriending Crucians.
Mhm.
Like we were the same way in Vorted.
Mhm.
Like I just know Rockman.
Yeah.
I hear about some Crucian. We went like you went Cruise couple time. I went Cruise
Mhm.
couple time.
Mhm.
We have some aunts that live over there and stuff like that. But like as I progress in life and I start to connect with Crucians,
Mhm.
cause the saying used to be the best Crucian is a dead Crucian in Rock, You know what I mean? So when we were growing up in
Yeah,
our project,
it's tough.
check, so when we
That's
start to get
That's
old
how
and
we grew up,
yeah,
right?
that's
Yeah,
how we grew
man.
up, and I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It was like that division,
Yeah.
right? And then when we kind of like start to get older and meet people from
Mhm.
St. Croix and befriend them, is like your life get better. That
Yeah.
that connection between a cruise man and a rock
Mhm.
man,
Yeah.
or a cruise person and a rock person,
Mhm.
it work one Lord. You
Yeah,
achieve
man.
more together
Mhm.
than separation. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
man.
So,
That's like, and I think is an important lesson in exposure because it's like part of the reason you have those perspectives. Because like before I meet Jamila and my partner them from Rocky in college, I went to St. Thomas maybe 3 times.
right.
Basketball tournament in high school. The recruiting session. Actually, that's an interesting story. It was like the recruiting session where I first got interest in Georgetown. What happened in St. Thomas.
Mhm.
So the elite universities, a group of the elite universities from the States, they recruit all of what they call the outer regions together. So that's
Right.
like Puerto Rico, the territories, and
Yeah.
then like other
Right.
international places. So even though we're American, they're part with the international recruiting
Mhm.
cycle.
Right.
So because I tested in the top whatever percent for PSATs my year in school, I got invited to go to Antilles High School in St. Thomas for like a one-night recruiting session,
Yeah.
where informational session really, where like Harvard, Georgetown, Stanford, and 2 other wicked schools was there.
Mhm.
And in that presentation, I was like, I still remember sitting down in the auditorium and seeing the Georgetown person start, and the first slide was showing a shot from across the Potomac River with a university up on the hilltop with like fog coming up. I was like, this place look wicked, man. And then I remember thinking like from growing up playing college basketball games with my uncle and stuff, like Georgetown was a school that man used to root for. So I was like, okay, I remember the name. And it was a bad
Patrick
school.
Ewing went to Georgetown.
Yep.
And he's an island man. So a lot of us kind of used to, you know, if we're not Georgetown fan, we will root for Georgetown because Patrick went to Georgetown.
And there was known as a black team
right?
Because you had Big
coach,
John as the coach
Big John,
and like
right.
and all that blackness. And then in my family, we's like that too. It's like I always been we proud to be black. We happy that we black. We happy to represent our culture. So if anything that had a heap of black people, we pulling for that.
Yeah.
So end up going to Georgetown and then having that exposure. You know, that first Christmas break from there, I went to St. Thomas and I was supposed to be there for like 2 nights and I was saying like 4 or 5 nights at Jamil House because it was mass. All my partner them there.
Yeah.
And man taking me all these different places I ain't been before.
Right.
And I was like, this place bad, man. Well, I gotta come back. I gotta come back.
That's how I feel when I went cruise before last. Like I said, I went one a youth, but it's different than when you go and you're grown. And I was like, man, over here so tranquil and like I just vibes, man. I love cruise. It's like I just don't tell nobody I there, you know.
Right.
And I just sneak in and just try to enjoy it and rock so concrete and root and cruise so like grassy and cultural and rainforest and you know more nature. You know what I mean? So it was a blessing to connect like that. It's so funny that we're so close but so far apart until we get to connect with each other. You know what I mean? Social media helped too.
Social media definitely helped. The experience of being out of the VI and being someplace else, because what happens is that even when we talk about when we start on St. Croix, you could be East versus West. When you're not on St. Croix, it's just St. Croix.
Exactly.
When you're out of the VI and St. Croix, same time, it's just VI.
Just VI.
And then like once we stop otherizing each other, then it'll change. And then you gotta ask yourself, you know, these things don't happen by accident. And if you know our history, it's systemically, globally, like it don't make no sense. Man do look jam and St. Croix.
Right.
I know enough, man. It was so hard for them to go back to St. Thomas from St. Croix Carnival because they get like 4 flights a day.
Yeah.
And they get 1 boat a day.
Yeah.
And it's like, how is it so difficult?
Yeah.
Right.
Like we get money for all type of thing, but like not inter-island traveling for commerce and stuff.
For
you know,
commerce,
right. Like, of course, we're going to have difficulty having a strong, friendly relationship with the other island when
we can't
I went to Miami more times growing up on St. Croix than I went to St. Thomas.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of man could say the same thing.
Same.
I had never been to St. John till I meet Jamil and them, man, and I was staying in Rock, and I was like, are we going to St. John? I was like, man, just go St. John.
Exactly.
He's like, yeah, we're going to the badge, we taking our car them over, we're going to take this.
You're like, what?
I was like, man, you put your car on the boat.
Yeah.
I might be making a lot of narrow, man.
Right. No, but that's true too, because sometimes I feel like I don't want to go St. Croix for the day and come back over. You know what I mean? I can't do that.
Like, the truth is, you live wherever you live, you could go from Atlanta to Alpharetta, spend a day and come back, ain't no issue. But now if you imagine you needed to get on a boat, and if you don't get on a boat back by 6 o'clock, then you gotta stay up there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, that's too much, man.
That's too much. Yeah.
That makes it easy for that device.
Yeah.
It makes it super easy. And then the generation before us, like if we struggling now, imagine what they went through.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of the sayings that we grew up hearing, like
Come from the older
that they come
generation.
from
Yeah,
them,
man.
because they didn't have that interaction
man.
with the other
I used to tell Jamie, be like, that Rockman is stiff, you know. Telling you, just like everyone, just like what the facts behind that statement? Meaning not. That's why I grew up hearing. I'm gonna take everything from we. Yeah, everything that's supposed to be ours. I'm gonna take from we.
I think too, especially like with that Fountain Valley 5 situation and not being able to traverse so much, you gotta listen to the media.
Yeah.
A lot of our older heads are probably just listening to what the media saying
Yeah.
about La Beat them. But for me, what different, you know what I mean? Like my family were more militant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I never get that impression from La Beat them like a negative
Like
thing.
it's
It was more like
scary over there and that
like
type
a
of thing.
freedom fighter thing. You know what I mean? My mother said you're gonna get a terrorist talk, cause she militant.
Right.
You know what I mean? My side of the family, my uncle them, my aunt them were more cultural and militant. You know what I mean? But I could see how them older heads will reject St. Croix based off of the propaganda after that incident that make the VI look bad to say like the best crucian is a dead crucian. You know, you have to come from something. It can't come from the people. You know what I mean?
But like the hyper tribalism is just a part of our culture. Just to speak on St. Croix real quick, like again, man, there's like I name your part of the island, man, and that's it.
That's it.
I don't go over there, and it's like it's 84 square miles, you know, father.
Right.
Like going over there is 7 minutes away.
Exactly.
And I don't think about how much stuff we do give up, we do just concede. It's like I don't go to that side of the island.
Right.
Why wouldn't you? You don't go to the neighboring island, and you think that's a flex.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's like you forsaking all of your own history and culture that is your birthright to claim and them places.
Right.
Just because
We weren't going around the field, and now we're like 2 minutes away.
2 minutes away,
Yeah.
and we fighting for projects that ain't been ours.
Yes.
We
Right.
can't buy them. They
Yeah.
belong to we. You get man to this day that bleeding for a project, spilling blood on this project. And when you dead, you can't pass that to your son. You
Can't
can't pass that to your
Yeah.
family. You know what I mean? So like what we doing on this conversation
Mhm.
we having is important because these men need to hear it.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, dog. Listen, I grew up in the ghettos. Ghetto man and Savan man didn't get along.
Right.
You check? Savan is like he say, 4 or 5 minutes down the road.
Right.
You check?
You know what's so funny about that too? Before they were the ghettos, everybody that were living in ghettos now, like when they get built, were living in Savan.
Facts.
And then when they build the project, they move from Savan into the projects, which were mostly people from like Tatola.
Okay.
Because back then, Tatola people were like immigrants.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Now they ain't, because there's so much of us and, you know, we interbreed and stuff like that.
Right.
Then the immigrants became people from Antigua, St.
Right.
Kitts, Nevis. They move into Savan. So my generation looking at Savan, people like this Dung Island
Long
people.
Island people.
So any father grew up in Savan, they got a street name after him in Savan.
wow.
'Cause like it wasn't that what it with Petersen garden is now, that was considered country, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, like to go right there,
Yeah.
what country.
Okay.
No, that ain't even country
Country,
anymore. That's Carlton. You gotta go over the hill to go to country. You know what I'm saying? So speaking on the tribalism, it's so funny that you're so in depth with that, right? You got a thing called the gathering spot.
Yes, sir.
So you went from a community and a culture with a separate us from tribalism, and you created a gathering spot that bring everybody together. Like how that idea started, how old or when did it begin?
No, I think it started on St. Croix, started in the family. Because even with all the hyper tribalism and different things, I think from my own experience, I always see that when it was important, like it was always one big link. It was always everybody would come together. And the good parts of our island, because it's so small and like, and I always say like I can't starve on St. Croix, you know.
Yeah.
Even if I train, like, if I ain't get no food at my mother's house, I got an aunt, I got a cousin, I get my neighbor, my partner, them parents would feed me and all, like, you know, having that big net.
Right.
I used to tell man, like, I feel like it was impossible to fail in life for real because, like, all I would need to do would be able to make it back to St. Croix and I could bounce back eventually.
Right.
Right.
So
the journey from Georgetown, right, to the gathering spot. So I had a crazy. Well, first of all, you stumbled across your co-founder of gathering spot.
Yeah.
That's your homie, right?
Yeah, man. Ryan
So
Wilson.
tell us, like, when I meet him, the crazy idea to like, yo, let's put this thing together, let's do this here,
Yeah,
and how you guys went about making this thing happen.
I get you. So I met Ryan my freshman year of college, the first day that we moved into the dorms. And you see, things was a little different for me than most freshmen because since I was a quote-unquote first generation college student, Georgetown had put me into this pre-freshman orientation program where I went to Georgetown for the summer before freshman year started. So I took it was like 6 weeks or 8 weeks long intensive writing class and elective class. 'Cause it's really intended for people that are like, yeah, you probably ain't used to the rigor of a school like this.
Right.
So like they kind of give you like a training camp for it.
Right.
So I was comfortable on the school already. Whereas like most freshmen, this is their first time seeing it. I done spend my summer here. So like I know, man, I get all the other people who was in the program with me. I don't get like 20 partners there.
Yeah.
But when I moved into the freshman dorm and you know, he's a black man. I try and link with all the black people I see and stuff. And our floor, so Georgetown is what they call PWI, private white institution. So we didn't have a heap of black people at school. And my freshman floor was considered like a pretty black floor because we had like 7 black people that lived on that floor. Yeah. And so like Ryan lived like 4 doors down from me.
Right.
And so when we like to start that first day, like everyone comes into the hallway and like you do like your intros or whatever.
Right.
Like I'm TK from St. Croix in the Virgin Islands. Fun fact is like, you know, I can swim really good or something. And so like everyone did their thing and he did his. But actually even before that, you know, everyone's moving in. We all the black dudes see each other. And we ended up going into our one homie's dorm room because he had his Xbox set up.
Right.
Or PlayStation, one or two. And Cash was just playing rap music and you know, playing Madden. And Ryan was in there. We ended up like debating hip hop because like that's just what niggas end up doing when they're in the same place. Argue
Biggie or
about music.
Tupac.
Yeah.
Let me see where you stand right now.
Yeah.
Tribalism again. What you like? Yeah.
So it was one of the things where it's like we disagreed, but it was like a fun conversation still. So it was like, are you trying to get some food, dog? Like, I bet. And like, you know, we lived on the same floor. We kept, you know, hanging out and stuff. We was homies. That's like our friendship was really built off of just like talking about random stuff and going to get food in between classes.
Right, right.
So you guys developed that friendship, and then it got to the place where you say, you know what, we should create this thing, this business, this movement.
So this is how it goes down. So, the reason I went to Georgetown is because I wanted to work on Wall Street because I was trying to make some money.
Yeah.
Right. And back then, Georgetown was the number 3 school at placing people on Wall Street. But I could not get on Wall Street for nothing. So I ended up getting a finance job in D.C. and then Ryan went to law school. And then after his first year of law school, 1L year, he came up with the precursor concept for what became the Gathering Spot.
Right.
And because he had always been doing like social justice, community service type work throughout like high school and college, whatever. It was like a real natural extension of the work he was doing because what happened was George Zimmerman was acquitted of the murder of Trayvon Martin.
Right.
And Ryan was like one of the people who like led like, you know, like walks and different things in DC. And like, so when he got acquitted, like the group, the other activists and stuff that he worked with and communities he worked with were like, yo, what should we do? And he like his response to them ended up being like, yo, I feel like we gotta like create a space where like a group of us can come together, like people from like who are like in the community and activist work like us, along with people who do like business and like all these different facets in one place. Cause like he was like, I don't have the answer, but I figure if we all come together and work on the answer together, we can come up with it. And then so he emailed them first, and then like later that day, the next day, he like revised that email and sent it to me. I was like, yo, I got this idea. What you think? And it was because like I was, you know, I studied finance and accounting, and he was like, I got an idea for a thing. Was like, you know, can you like help with like making a model and stuff? So I was like, that was my homie. So I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's simple.
That's dope.
Yeah. That's simple. So then you guys came up with this whole model. You came up with this plan. Yeah, had the money to pull this thing off?
Nah. That's not. It would have been nice if it was just there already.
Just two college kids.
Yeah.
With a dope idea.
So
and no money.
We had. He was in college. He was in law school, and then I was working. But like, you know, we figured the idea would be like, the first budget we had for the Gathering Spot was like, okay, it'd be like $1 million. And you know, we went around to like I first like went to some of my finance professors. I was like, yo, like, you know, how do I go about, you know, getting this money? Like, do you know investors? And then we're fortunate that Ryan's dad is a successful entrepreneur.
Yeah. Right.
And so he was like, yo, guys, like what y'all gotta do is, you know, create a pitch deck, and then like I can introduce you to like 1 or 2 people I know, and then y'all gotta like, you know,
take it from there.
And so he like introduces a couple of people that he knew that worked at like some banks and stuff. And then I talked to them, like we like through our like college travels, like we had met like finance people and different professors who knew people. And then so we just like reached out to them and we like, yo, can we like pitch you this idea. And for the most part, people said no, like, oh, it was a cool idea, but like not for me type of thing.
Right.
We just asked, like, yo, is there anyone else in your network that's an investor, like anyone else that you think we can, present
Right.
this opportunity to? So, we probably started off with like 4 people, and then from those 4 people and asking them to like give us people to follow up with,
Right.
we ended up pitching to like 97 people. And after the 97th person, that's when we got our first yes.
So
Oh,
after the
man.
97th, no.
No.
It take 97 no's before you got your first yes.
Yeah.
Boy, I would have quit after like the 7th.
Yeah.
Like after 7, I was like,
No,
it's
but
it for me.
that's a good lesson,
Mhm.
a story, because you ain't give up, you ain't stop, right? You believe in something.
Yeah, because it's like, it's not, for us, it wasn't even really considering like, oh, like that was a fail. It was just like, we just gotta keep going.
On
Like
to the
eventually,
next.
eventually someone's gonna get it. Cause it didn't feel like because they said no that like we failed
They
something.
were bad.
It was
yeah.
just like, okay, that wasn't a person for it. It didn't get
Yeah,
to that person.
right.
Cause like we really believe that like it was a
Yeah.
worthwhile concept. So it was like, okay, maybe I'm not articulating it the proper way.
Yeah.
Maybe it hasn't found the right person.
Mhm.
Right.
So and then after a certain point, in the beginning, I was like, damn, okay, that person didn't do it. But then it became more like, all right, they probably gonna say no, but like, what can we improve on this time? So
Mhm.
when it was like, I'm gonna pass, it was like, okay, like, do you got like 3 people I could talk to though?
Mhm.
And so you get like, I'm more expecting you, it's more likely for you to
Say
say
no.
this is not for you
Yeah.
than for you to say yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm just like refining different parts of the pitches and
Yeah.
trying to get to certain things. And then what I've found is that when you are locked in on the destination but flexible on the path,
Right.
then you can you almost always gonna get there.
Yeah. Tell him right
I like
there.
that.
Tell him
That's a
that
bar.
one more time.
Yeah.
When you
I-
locked in on the what?
Yeah, I said like when you are locked in on the destination but flexible on the path, as long as you stay on it, you're gonna get there.
Mhm.
Like I think my grandma used to say, is like, actually no, my cousin ran into me this time. He was like, yo, it's impossible to till the soil and not reap fruit. He was like, it's
Right.
literally impossible. He was like,
Right.
if you tend to a farm every day
Yeah.
for years, he was like, it might not come when in the time you thought,
Right.
but
What's gonna come?
if you spend that time you have to reap something.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to
Have
reap
to.
something.
Right.
Have to.
And like for me and Ryan, our whole thing was just like every day was like make a little progress.
Mhm.
If we make a step every day, we'll eventually get to the destination we want to with the business, which was for it to be created.
Mhm.
And we always used to pray and ask for it. We just want an opportunity. That's all it
Right.
was. It was like, yo, if I pitched Kyle and he said it wasn't, I was just like, yo, I appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to pitch you for investment. Because you could have just said no. And those people, like the 97 people said no, there was a bunch more people who just like wouldn't even give us a meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They at least heard y'all out.
Yeah.
So what is the gathering spot? Like
Yeah.
break that down for like,
Wow.
It's a good question.
viewers.
So the Gathering Spot is a private network that was started in Atlanta, Georgia, and we have 3 flagship locations
Mhm.
in Atlanta, DC, and Los Angeles. And then physically, what we offer is there's private event space, private restaurant and bar, and private workspace. But the
So-
Gathering Spot is a community that's rooted in it's a private membership club that's rooted in community and culture.
Mm.
So we service the Black community. That is our target. That is what we platform. That is what we promote.
Right.
And it's all about serving us.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been to a couple events at the gathering spot,
Mhm.
like I told you before. I think I shoot one of my I forget what it man, I'm gonna feel so bad forgetting this photographer name. He's your boy too, man. He's from Croix as well. Huh? No, he's a videographer,
He's
man.
talking about my cousin Lorenzi.
Lorenzi.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Go in
Right.
person,
Yeah. Like he shoot my first part,
Yep.
like my interview with
Mhm.
Timu.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, we should go, by TK gathering spot. I was like, TK, you're like, yeah, TK, I like from Cruise. You're like, yeah. And I was like, at that time, I blew my mind. Like, wait, he the gathering spot, like, or he just like know people at the gathering spot. Like, he the walk me, like, no, like he's the co-founder. Like, I was like, and in my mind, I was like, man, how we come from such a small place
Mhm.
and I have these impactful people that I leave an imprint on the wall from sports to culture to you know what I mean? So that's when I became, other than just knowing who he was, like a fan.
Give thanks.
You know what I mean? Like, I was a fan of this dude. Like,
Facts.
like if I see Michael, just how I feel when I see TK, right? The accomplishment, the drive, like all these different things. I was like, no, I was a fan of this cat, man.
Right.
And it ain't like he's 10, 20 years old, he's my age group, you know what I mean? But I was like a fan, like, you know what I mean? You inspire so much other people to be like, yo, like we could make moves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we really could make moves out here. Ain't nothing really stopping us from making moves by ourselves, you know what I mean? So I always proud when I pull up or I pass it and I see kind of doing some construction in the area they know, you know what I mean? But I'd see it and I'd be like, yeah, that's us.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Shout out to Ryan too, even though you're from the VI. Trust me, people in the VI love you too for your association. By default, bro. You know what I mean? And
we're looking to bring you to the VA for the first time this year.
Oh man.
Yeah, man.
For St. Thomas Carnival?
Nah, not for St.
Oh
Thomas.
yeah, you know that man. He ain't gonna do that one.
You
You gotta call Croix first.
Yeah, man. Because actually he been to St. Thomas before on a cruise.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but I tell man, you know, the cruise thing
yeah,
is nice, but that's
nice.
You getting a sampling.
Exactly. I tell a lot of people when you come to the vote, especially if you black, like I encounter a lot of like black Americans, and I'll be like, man, I know how to go to Dubai and I want to go to these different places, but this is your paradise, right? It's black people running this place, black investors. Don't just get out. Don't forget the resort. Rent a car, get Airbnb, and just go. Just drive. Just hang out. Nobody ain't going to know you ain't from here until you open your mouth. You know what I'm saying? And even after you open your mouth, it's like, you whatever. You know what I mean? Food over here, weed over here, wherever. You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of black Americans should be coming to the Virgin Islands for their escape because it's tailored for you. You ain't got no police brutality. You like, you good. This is the whole thing, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not taking away anything from a lot of the white locals who been there forever. But I speak it to my people.
Yeah,
you know I mean?
And I think even that equivocation is the strength of white supremacy right there that you even got to set up.
Right. Like, I mean, good point.
The Virgin Islands is 80 something % black people.
Right.
Exactly.
Like it's a black people land.
Right.
It is what it is. It's not disrespectful to state that is majority.
It's the reality of it, right?
It's our culture.
Yeah.
And I think that's always something to understand that like the pride and respect that you have for yourself and for your culture is never in contrast as to say you don't have that.
Right.
You know, but it is the truth. This is our land.
Yeah.
And I'd have said that same thing to my black friends in the States where it's like, yeah, you know, Tulum, nice, all that stuff. And you travel, you see all type of place, but if a frequent destination, a place that you can make your second spot, like that should be the Virgin Islands because it's still governed by U.S. law. Exactly. Because you
don't need a passport.
English. You don't need no passport. Is the
should
cultural adjacency
right.
so similar? Like you know, man, you could play your favorite trap song and the man them know that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like and I think that comfort is the ease in which I sure it was for all of we to come to the States, and it's like obviously there's some transition points, but overall it's like as a black dude in the States now.
Right.
And
and it was kind of for me when I first moved to the state. I come in 9th grade, and
oh wow, okay,
I come in 9th grade.
Well, that's like high school.
9, 10, and 11th grade. I do it in Miami, and I'm getting kicked out when I come back home.
Okay,
but it was the transition I had with black Americans was they just all of they thought we were from Jamaica.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then trying to explain to them, like, no, as American, but at the same time, I'm from the Caribbean, and there's a place here that I know how to talk like you, but you don't know how to talk like me. Because I'm watching your TV, but you're not watching my TV. You know what I mean? All my fights them were with black Americans over my accent or like some banana boat belief. You know what I mean? So, but the one thing I always keep in my mind was I got to educate them. Right? You don't know. You're not acting like this because you actually don't like me. You just don't know. You know what I mean? So the more I wrong you, the more I go educate you. And as I get older and as we got older, their temperament and their vibes change from dissing me to envying me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, why are you from the islands? Like, what are you doing here? Like, the older people, younger people are like, oh, you talk funny, blah, 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 blah. But the older people are like, what are you doing here? And I need to be like, you should come. You know what I mean? I always been an ambassador. Wherever I go, like, like my place, like, come home. You know what I mean?
I think that's a testament to our culture. It's like we's a hospitable people.
Right.
It'd be funny when people always be like, if you ain't get no good customer service. And it's like, Dog, like, when the last time you went to somebody's house in the Virgin Islands and they had the best
Right.
customer
Exactly.
service?
Right.
You can't go into people's house and not get food after you, not get a ride, not
True.
Right.
whatever.
True.
So it's like, but we don't hear that narratives and then we don't repeat it.
Yeah.
One of the things I hate to hear the most from people from home is when they be like, if it has a third world country, how could the Virgin Islands ever be a third world country? Like,
Right.
do you actually know what the definition of that is?
Right.
And it's like, you mean a place where you get running water, where you get cars available, where you get high-speed internet, where there's a functioning government, that is a third world country because it gets some potholes?
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
And they even realize the power in the tongue because other people hearing it that ignorant to
Right.
our current
And now they're really
situation.
thinking it's a real terrible place.
Exactly.
And it's like, yo, like, the GDP of the Virgin Islands is over $4 billion.
Crazy.
Right.
There's 100,000 people who live in the Virgin Islands.
Yeah,
Actually, not even that much anymore,
Yeah,
according to the last
80.
count.
Yeah.
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 It's just like,
I think the
that's a rich
diaspora
country.
bigger than the place now, and I think we get
so
more
too.
people
who live in the Bab
right,
and also overall.
abroad than live in the Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
I
Just
think
like
they
in
close.
like Puerto Ricans and Jamaicans, they get
Right.
more of them in the States than on the island.
Than on the island, you know what I mean?
But
So
that's an interesting point, because it's like, how do you count the diaspora? Because at what point are
right,
you not a part of the diaspora? You just live in the States.
right,
And I think as more of us who are still connected and we have the internet and platforms now, we're like, hey, I was hard a man who was raised in the Bab.
right,
Just on some like
yeah,
the other rising stuff is like,
Yeah.
you from home, father.
yeah,
You from up here.
Yeah.
yeah. So my daughter them, like, you can't tell them they ain't from the Virgin Islands.
I like to hear that.
Like, for real, for real. You know what I mean? Like, I be like, yeah, I'm from the Virgin Islands. They're like, and they a mimic. They get American in them too,
Of
like,
course,
in the
yeah.
sense of part, like, they will mimic how I talk as a joke.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But I know it ain't a joke. They're just happy that they could
They could flip.
associate with the culture.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'd worry about it in the sense of I don't want, cause I move here
Mhm.
and they're growing here and this going to be their home and what they're mostly familiar with rather than the VI
At home, yeah.
for us to get last generations from now.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I try to bring them home and
Yeah.
circle back, and I kind of want them get breed from a VI man. You know what I mean? I swear, like, in my mind, I'd be like, cause if you don't, then I get
Who the fuck
daft.
I
Being
say
a
that
so,
about?
I swear I ain't even lying to you, bro.
It's just the phrasing. They're like,
Right? Sorry, breed. Okay, impregnate.
Maria,
what's
yeah,
it?
man.
Marriage, yeah, but
the breed,
marriage is whatever. You know what I mean? I need a
it's just
bloodline.
unified.
Yeah, I need a.
breed is forever.
It's forever. You know what I mean? That means you definitely got to come back home now. You know what I mean?
Now you get roots.
I don't live home,
Mhm.
so they necessarily don't have to come back home.
Mhm.
I have to come back home because my parents live home.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So once they're gone and me home like
Mhm.
that, they don't have any incentive to come back home other than
Pride.
pride.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where does that get
Mhm.
lost in the
Mhm.
generations going forward? So they'd be like, no, man, you need
And I
go home
think
and
that
get knocked
speaks
up.
to an important point for us as a people, where it's like, I do think that the future of the Virgin Islands could be that it's not a black people land.
Right.
That it just becomes some other type of vision than what we have known it to be for
Right.
hundreds of years now. And that is because there is a migration of us. It's net negative migration
Right.
because there is more opportunity for most people in the States and elsewhere than on the islands itself.
Facts.
And if we do not create a proximity and a true reason for people to come home, it's the same thing. Like, I don't go home all the time because my mother lived there, my grandmother lived there, my little sister lived there.
Right.
And, now though, part of the reason I work with the Blend Collective is because if I create commerce and resource around something back home, then I have more legitimate reason for going back home regularly. Whereas, like, I'm fortunate that I can afford to fly home pretty much whenever I feel like. But like, I don't still have to work. So if I'm not generating some type of income, it's like there's only so long I could be home.
Right.
But if I'm working on something that allows me to cover expenses from creating activity home, now there's more reason to go
come
home. Now there's access now. Because if you create the what I've identified for a lot of stuff is the thing that you to do for more, and I've identified what life has shown is that the thing you to do to make your money is what you to spend most of your time doing
Right.
as an adult.
Right.
So if the thing I to do to make money has me in California, then 75% of my time I'm going to be in California.
Right.
So if I know ultimately I want to spend significant time in the Virgin Islands, then that means either waiting until I retired and then I don't need to be generating money because I get to save up already, or I need to figure out a way that I can be generating some resource in that environment because that's what going to make sense.
And you know what's that's dope? Like your story is such an inspiring one for young Virgin Islands kids, especially boys, to hear, right? Because now you went from Georgetown, you moved to Atlanta, started the gathering spot, right? Well, prior to that, you had the 97 no's. Like people tell you, and that doesn't even include the people that said no to even having a meeting with you.
Right.
So it's way more than 97.
Right.
Most people we quit after this first one, the second one, the third one, and say the same for me. But you stuck with it. You created something really, really big. And then it got to the point where I know that Greenwood Bank did some type of business with you guys when it come to the gathering spot. You could talk a little bit about
can.
what
So
happened?
you know, in last year, in 2022, the business was acquired by a fintech company here in Atlanta that was started by
what is fintech?
Financial technology company. So you think of Cash App or Venmo, Zelle, all those stuff is fintech. And you know, so it's a black founded and created fintech here in Atlanta that some of the members there they had a relationship with the gathering spot beforehand too. So in having conversation with them about, you know, creating tools and resources to service in the community, they came up with the idea of like, you know, let's take the partnership to an even deeper level and you know, have it become one business in a sense. So they acquired the business last year. So now we're one company with them, and you know, we have roles and responsibilities on the Greenwood side as well. But our primary, what I'm talking about is me and Ryan. Our primary role is still, you know, leading the gathering spot each day, and you know, it's a blessing to do that.
And Greenwood Bank is, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the first black-owned bank in America.
No, so what is it? So Greenwood, and then technically we're not a bank. So it's just Greenwood.
Yes.
Yeah. So we would have said like Bank Greenwood and different things on like for social media and marketing, but technically in all the legal footnotes and you see stuff, you see we're not a bank.
Not a bank.
But it's the biggest black fintech, you know, by reach and community from our accounting that we found, and it started in 2021.
2021. That's most
Killer Mike and them associated with that.
Killer Mike and the civil rights leader and legend Ambassador Andrew Young.
Oh man, that's big.
That's big time.
Ambassador Young is a member of the gathering spot too.
Oh man,
that's dope. So Andrew Young. So wait, Andrew Young was a member of the gathering spot, and then y'all partnered up.
That's the power of community, right
of
there.
Community. You get them a space to come and be a member, and in being having a space and being a member, connected a relationship for them to do business with you, and that's what we want in a black community. No, the Blend Collective.
Yes, sir.
Like, first of all, the logo is dope.
Yes.
I love
the name is dope.
I know. Like, I know what blend mean for me. I don't know if that's what you meant when that's what you meant.
That's what it was. No, honestly, let me give you the true background of it. So it's literally my boy Jamal Samuel. So we went to like first grade and second grade together in St. Croix.
Yeah.
And then he's one of the people that I know who live in Atlanta. And he used to show me love and bring me around all the VI people that live in Atlanta. That's how I get connected to Atlanta.
He used to manage, but still probably doing like with Rock City,
Todd and stuff. So I think it was like 2018. Todd had a music video.
Yeah.
And Renzi shoot on it too.
Yeah.
And Pressure was there. Aleman was about. And they end up doing like a watch party for it or something later at Jamal yard.
Yeah.
And I remember being there and hearing these man talking about blend for like 20 minutes. And for man them who don't know what blend is raw tobacco leaf.
Yeah, raw tobacco leaf.
People who consume cannabis to mix
Fronto,
it.
Fonta, Fonto.
Grabber. Yeah,
hot leaf.
Yeah. And watching these man talking about smoking and how like it's so hard to find good blend in a bab and like I had to drive 30 minutes to find blend, and it's like just hearing that in my mind, I just like, wow, that sound like a market opportunity.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So like I talked to Renzi and some of the other man in the family's like who's like, how come like a man don't just like ship blend around? It's like you got a couple of man that do it and different thing, but like ain't like a big scale thing. And I was like, that's like I feel like somebody should do that. That'd be like a unique thing that they could do, like
Yeah.
market that they like. This is the blend man for the States, and like that could be like a real business probably.
Brand it.
And then man didn't really do nothing with that. It was just an idea I talked with that man about. And then the pandemic come, and before that I used to be in TGS, the gathering spot, like doing 20 hours a day every day for years regularly. And there's balance to be had in stuff. Like people that talk about seeking different things, but like this was my thing. Like so me trying to glorify like not sleeping a lot. I just tell you like, well, man.
No, trust me, a lot of us like that, man. When you want it and you really love it, like that's what you gotta do.
Gonna keep you.
Yeah.
So don't torture yourself, but like if you giving everything you could give.
Right.
And so that's what I was doing. So I didn't. But the pandemic come and then it's like we have after 5 o'clock you ain't really got nothing to do no more. You guys stay in your house. And then I end up moving to DC, and in conversation with some other VI man, there's some of my cousin them Jason and Leroy and stuff. And my cousin Fly, especially Fly is who I link it up to start. And I end up moving to DC and living next door to my cousin Jason from St. Croix too. And I went over by that man and his partner come over with some blend. I was like, yo, I had this idea from way back about a man should do this, and like his partner is a blend man. I was like, okay, this is like this idea I feel like you should run with.
Yeah.
And the man I take it and I like it, and I was like, I could help. I was like, yo, I didn't do the gathering spot. That's my thing. That's my main thing. I can't pretend like I could lead the charge on the next thing, but I could help like link people to different stuff and whatever.
Network and
so I love the VI band, and I love our culture, and I love my favorite part about social media is that you could find out about all type of stuff that you wouldn't know about. And then because I've been living in the Bab since 2008, I'd be homesick bad. So either on Instagram and Facebook all the time looking at stuff, trying to stay up to what's going on. So Tafa Romain, God rest his soul.
God rest his soul, man.
He featured me on his program for as ambassador. And so from that, I watch all the other episodes he do too, from even before I was on it. Yeah. And this girl from St. Croix, Kian Corliss, from the creator of Cast Swim, I had seen the article from years ago about how a Crucian woman had her swimsuit featured in Sports Illustrated because the girl, and talk about Unity, the woman from Rock, who ended up marrying Derek Jeter. She if I remember right, she had picked her Kiki swimsuit to be in the Sports Illustrated joint. And then she get picked up the next time too. So like I know her story, and I just reach out to her. I was like, I know you're a designer. I like working with these men that like try and come up with this thing, and it's all around like creating a lifestyle brand that's rooted in Virgin Islands culture. Right. Because that's what ultimately we come to is just like blend is how VI people talk about tobacco. Right. And it's like a very Virgin Islands thing, at least from my life experiences. I don't really know anybody else that'll call it blend.
They will call it blend, but we own that.
Yes.
This is our thing.
Because we.
You know what I'm saying? But that's our thing. Yeah. If you hear a man say blend, 9 times out of 10, he come from the small island specifically too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Me Antigua people, they say blend, but VI kind of really like push it out there. Yeah.
So, I hit about that. I was like, yo, actually, I literally was like, yo, do you like make logos or anything like that? Because we was friendly before, just like, supporting each other, same practices. And she was like, yo, like, I ain't no logo, I don't make logos, but like, if you have like a wicked like project or like a concept that like I believe in as well, like I could help give you like a design suite or so. She had said some like term that like I wasn't even too familiar with, but I was like, yeah, man. Yeah, that's it. So this is what the man them try and do. Like, yeah, we didn't want just a logo. It's just like whatever you willing to do, because I know you busy with stuff, whatever the full scope of whatever you could offer, we'd like to engage. Right. And then So she created the logo. Every physical product you see is based off of her designs.
Man, that's dope. And you know, there's a running narrative home where people like to believe that Virgin Islands people don't work with each other. But I know that to be different. So when I hear people saying it, I'm like, man, you just ain't guy. You probably afraid to ask.
You probably afraid to ask, or you have an entitled mindset where just because you from a place, somebody should do something.
Right, you know what I mean?
And then also, anytime people that say stuff like that, when they're talking about their own community doing something more than other people, I just be like, do you think that's accurate, or you just have more experience with your own group of people? So of course you've had more negative experiences with people who look like you, who live by you, because how could you have a bad experience with somebody who live 100 miles away from you? So you making up guesses on what people in other cultures and other, but you know what will be going on in your thing because you're interacting with people. So yeah, I probably had more times where I tried to work with somebody who was black or from the Virgin where it didn't work out. Or not like more, but had several times where it's like, that's what happened in business. That's what happened in general.
In
when
business,
I work with people,
period, they don't have nothing to do with the Virgin Islands people.
Exactly.
Somebody either going to be involved or they ain't going to be involved. But that shouldn't deter you from pitching it or asking or, hey, put me in a position or just ask.
Because I experienced this from just like a global black perspective with Gathering Spot, where it's like, we're a black business. And then I don't hear stuff all the time from people like, you know, if black businesses did this and that, and it's like, you're like, so you never had a bad customer service experience at a non-black business before.
Right.
That man ain't never lose your order.
Exactly.
Because like Amazon lose my order before, and Amazon's the biggest company in the world.
Exactly. And that's not a black business.
Right.
Like I don't.
And you ain't boycotting them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or like
you going back again to buy more stuff from Amazon.
Because of internalized racism, we the lord stuff over each other. Where like a man will buy something from you or get you a service, and because it wasn't 100% what he wanted to be, and this why I don't deal with him type of business. And it's like, just okay,
that's all it took.
You was, and at the time I tell you, if you feel like you doing me a favor for doing this work, for me hiring you, then it's safe, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like, it's mutual. That's the whole essence of the business. Exactly. Like I think your service or product is good, and I would like to exchange it. If it ain't working out, and be like, and that's why I don't buy nothing from man who they wear blue shirt.
Exactly.
Man who they wear blue shirt, you can't trust them, and the man product they fall apart.
Man, shirt blue. Oh, you don't wear blue shirts.
Oh, well, fuck you.
I just saying.
You keep on referencing his point, okay?
Yeah.
Nothing against people in blue shirt. Yeah, blue look good on me, mother.
I mean, but just don't do business with them. You know what I mean?
But that's so crazy. That's so dope, right? That you pretty much start to help co-found a multi-million-dollar establishment, and now you got to the place where you like, listen, I want to invest in my home.
Yeah, man, that was a big driver.
My people on. I want to be back there, but I can't just be back there with no money. So I have to create something that gonna create income for me, so I could be there, so my people could be employed, so they could have some of this food too, so we all could succeed and have the, you know what I mean, live that life of our board, right? You just say that all the time. You check.
It's about creating an infrastructure and a mechanism for doing the thing. So keep the story going. Like, unfortunately, because like I always keep tabs. I'd be like, that's my thing. I'd try and be like, know what's interesting and creative. So like when it came time, since that man from who like Jason, that man who started TBC, that man was like, yo, like, who you think we should? I was like, actually, I know, like, I see this girl went viral for this like marketing campaign she did. I read about this other girl, so it's like, and it's like one of my favorite things about it is the Virgin Islands is at the start times like a matriarchal society, where it's like our history and even how our society is set up now is around the VI women, the Crucian women, the St. Thomas women, and you know when you see TBC, it's like a Crucian woman design all the physical stuff, all the initial marketing and look and feel. The creative director for TBC is Whitney, who's from St. Croix too. A lot of the professional pictures you've ever seen is from Sharamar Cruz, who's from St. Croix too.
Right.
Then you know, we work with Jelani Kendall, who's from St. Thomas, who create music and work with us a lot. And then we get girls I went to high school with, Tanya and Kenya, who deal with the operations and executions of experiences. And
it's so crazy you see matriarchal. I had post a picture of my grandmother the other day when I was home, and my caption was basically saying, you know what I mean, like I've made something of myself, right? I kind of known in the Virgin Islands, Pressure is known.
Yep.
But I wanted the people them to know that our legacy was built on the backs
Mhm.
of a queen.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So when you say that, it resonate with me
Mhm.
because speaking to Sony, Sony could tell you when I was acting a fool, and you know what I mean, this is who I leaning on.
Right.
The woman them in our family is the people them that we that lean on the most,
100%.
help carry us or soften some blows or stand on their shoulders to be red man, to be pressure, to be Kyle. Kyle could tell you his mother, my mother, you know what I mean? So I glad that you were able to like spin that into that. Here on the Caribbean Currency Podcast, we like to ask our guests. For me, my form of currency is relationships.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I know you're a financial person, went to school for finances. What is your form of currency? When you hear currency, what form does it take for you? Is it money?
Yeah.
Is it love? Is it time? Is it relationships? You know what I mean? Like
What's the most important?
what's the most important form of currency for you?
Yeah. I would say time, man. I would say time. Because the time is the most finite resource, and none of us know exactly how much we get.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you spending it, it's like, you never know when that going to be the last moment of anything. I gotta read that thing the other day. It was like, treat every second like it's precious because you never get a second.
Wow,
that's dope.
Never get a second.
Never get a second.
Yeah. He said a second.
I say second.
Not saying what he said. He's
I thought you said I said that.
Yeah.
No,
I had to say it over for him.
Yeah.
So, I appreciate that.
But there you have it, man. Bro, it's an honor having you again. You know what I mean? I reach out, short notice. You say, yeah, you're
Yes,
ready. I pull up. And you forever have our gratitude.
All the time.
Love alone.
We could talk about one more thing.
Yeah,
of course, man. Tell us.
I think it's
Sony, we could talk about one more thing. You got to ask the boss. You check.
Sony,
You asking
I ain't
nobody.
nobody in a blue shirt like this.
With a black face.
Yeah, I have a few more minutes.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Last 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
No, so I think as people with a platform
Right.
in the Virgin Islands, I think it's important to announce what I think is a clarion call of what's going on. Like, our culture is in the balance right now for the
Right.
next decade. I think the moves we make now determine the future of the Virgin Islands for
Right.
many generations to come,
Facts.
because of the structural shifts that are occurring. If you look online now, since the hurricanes in 2017, and then accelerated by the pandemic and the global economic shifts, and just natural aging, you seeing properties and land change hands in the Virgin Islands like never before.
Right.
And if you own a part or gain some of these assets now, you could not get it for generations, because they're going to pass on to somebody and they're going to hold it for 30 years until it's time for them man to pass it on. So I think we have to be present in what's going on in Virgin Islands. Not necessarily you physically got to move it, but if you can, you should.
Yeah.
And you should figure out how to we all need to figure out how to get involved in what's happening, because our culture, our islands is in the balance. Is $8 billion that the government is going to spend in recovery dollars alone. Our GDP is $4 billion. We're going to spend twice our GDP in just infrastructure projects.
Right.
And these monies is how wealth is really created.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the trajectory of how those things is going. And I think we have to have these conversations and be talking about what are we doing to put ourselves in a position. The government has done a good job we get more cruise ships now on St. Croix now than in many, many years.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are we doing to make sure that the native Virgin Island is benefiting from this rise? Because what can happen is that we end up being like other places where it's just foreign investors and major corporations who are reaping all the benefits,
Right.
while we are locked into low-wage earning systems.
So, two things just hit me when you say that. One of the appeal about doing a podcast with Kyle is because it's educational. I had to deal with so much entertainment and everybody who want to be in the club and look good and post pictures. Doing it with Kyle, being able to talk about finances, talk about the things you just talk about, being aware about where the culture going was important. The next thing that hit me is listening to you talk with that type of passion that remind me of Seagull. You know what I mean? I remember showing Pressure It's a beautiful little clip
Mhm.
that show up on Facebook where he like walk up to the camera, say something, and he say, if you want to learn, come and check me. And then he walk off. I don't know if you remember that clip, but it was so mystic and powerful. I save it in my phone someplace. I
Yeah,
send it.
to me.
I go and send it to you.
Yeah,
'Cause
right.
my phone crashed. I send it to June. So I go and forward it to you
Boom.
for sure, right? But to see a young entrepreneur, black entrepreneur from home speak so passionate about our future. Cause you could sit down here early and talk about your success.
Yeah, he make it.
Right.
He good.
And that's the least
He
for you.
good.
In
He
this
could
whole
care less
entire
what going on
interview, that's
back
the
there.
least.
He gonna
You had to let me know, look, there's a shift going on and we need to be paying attention to it and be engaged and be involved.
The reason I got into this, let me tell you something, right? One day I decided I have a credit repair company and I teach financial literacy. So I went in a space where my credit went the best.
Yep.
I applied for a house, I get denied, and when I apply again, I got approved but with a crazy interest rate.
Right.
And I couldn't afford it. So I'm like, how the heck do I get this interest rate down so that I could afford this house that I really want? Then I figure it out. So I fixing my credit, start messing around with stuff. Boom. Credit got good, got approved for the house. Boom, I'm a homeowner now. I building wealth, just
Right.
sitting down, right? Tell a couple of my partner them, hey, what your credit score looking like? 5 something. Let me fix it. He could tell you. I took you from the 5 and change to the 700s.
Right.
He could tell you. And it got to the place where he started telling his partner, my cousin tell our other cousin, and it take off that way. And I fixing everybody credit. And then it get to a place where like I tell my family and friends at the time, we ain't doing the same thing that we do that guys in the place of bad credit. We need to understand how you don't get back to this place.
Right.
So therefore, you could take advantage of these opportunities that's coming, that's presenting itself. So you don't be in a space where you're like, I can't afford this house. Yes, you can. You have a job that you've been working for longer than 2 years.
Right.
You pretty much have the income part checked. It's just a credit, right?
Right.
So in doing so, I started to teach financial literacy a lot more. And what you just say resonate with me so much because that's my message. Guys, we losing the place that we call home.
Yeah.
If we don't do nothing about it, it's not gonna be our home no more. Okay? It's gonna be a place where we don't own nothing, and these people that own it charging us to live there, and that's our home.
Yeah.
Right.
How do we fix that?
Island cruise ship coming in West North, which is a beautiful thing, you know. I love to see it, you know. But downtown West is a ghost town.
Yep.
Who's going to buy that property? Us or people from the outside?
Yep.
So if we have the financial literacy or the economic power or just the knowledge to go in and say, I'm going to buy this shop, I'm going to buy this piece of property and put it downtown in West. So now that the government do their job, they're making people come.
The government has done part of its
Part
job.
of their job.
I'm going push here where I said, I think there is a segment of us that need the financial literacy to them sense and to understand the opportunity.
Right.
But then there's also a significant class of us that have the understanding, have good credit and stuff, but they still can't get approval for the financing because of discrimination or just or just those pools of capital laying dead here.
Yeah.
So we need to be pushing. Okay, we get phase 1, we get more activity coming. Now phase 2 is how do we get the government to create a product or some type of program, not to train me on how, like, I know how numbers work. I know I need to be making more money than I spending.
Yes.
Right.
But what I need is a loan for $3 million to go fix up the thing. That's the reason I know multiple, man. All three of we right now have ideas for businesses we do on our respective islands right now. The problem is, like, I got to allocate my capital wisely.
Yeah.
Whereas if there was a government backstop to say, hey, we'll guarantee this loan, you pull 10% down, we'll give you 100,000, we'll give you whatever so you could do this. And back us. And that ain't some new program, that ain't no new creation.
That's things that happen in other places.
Places that ain't happening for us.
And then for understanding, because some people be like, that ain't the government job. That is literally the government's job.
Right.
And like also understanding that the government is not some second entity. The government represents us. The government works for us.
Right.
So their job is to do whatever we want them to do.
Right.
But the problem is we are not trained to be civically engaged in a way. And then we, like, growing up hearing stuff like it's politics, I don't get involved with this and that. The money getting spent either way, Father.
Exactly.
Right.
And whether or not you want to engage, the laws that they enact and enforce govern how we are able to move forward.
Exactly.
Right.
So right now, there's something like, the last time I checked the numbers, it was like 50-something thousand people registered to vote in the Virgin Islands.
Crazy.
And then only like 18,000 of them voted or
Yeah,
20,000 of them
crazy.
voted.
No,
Whereas like if you had a look jump size amount of people vote in one direction for anybody, they would then
become
be
governor.
the governor.
Yeah, which is sad.
But it is sad, but it's an opportunity.
It is an
How I look at it.
opportunity.
Because the reason this stuff ain't an accident. You can't be politically engaged when you live in poverty because you are too obsessed with surviving. And I lived like that for a long time too as well. Where it's just like I'm just trying to make it to tomorrow, Father. So no, I don't know what the legislature are talking about.
Yeah.
So I agree with you from the extent of being in poverty and it's hard to be engaged with politics. But these people are in poverty and are engaged with other things that don't have nothing to do with politics, that's for their self-enjoyment. I feel like sometimes at home, some of us with the loudest voices are more worried about we're selfish in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, I got to live this life. And while you living that life and having fun, you're neglecting things that are going to help the other generation feel comfortable here in the Virgin Islands because you are just living your life. So only 18% of that 50,000 people, that's 18% of 50,000 people voting about your future. Schools, the hurricane hit in 2017. Schools still ain't being rebuilt. So who's satisfied with that? So the government does work for us, but we're not forcing them to work. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's one of our biggest problem is kicking knowledge. I used to tell Kyle all this all the time. When I first come on Facebook, I used to kick knowledge and nobody listening to me. But now I start talking stupidness, I blow up. What I tell you about the culture. So I got to talk stupidness and then come back and slip some knowledge in. That's my technique.
That's human nature though, because think about what's the #1 movies. It don't be about learning astrophysics. It'll be about superheroes. That's human nature. So we gotta work in the confines of what we have. So if is on people who think like we that we can change the things. So it's like if I could figure out how to get an extra 1,000 man to vote, we doing things that we have a grassroots movement. And I just optimistic like that where I'm like, if they couldn't break us when they bring us over in slave ships and chains and then going through the most brutal form of the human condition, which is slavery, chattel slavery. Then I mean, a tax situation now or the things we're dealing with now, I think we have the metal it takes to shift it in the way that it needs to be done.
Definitely.
Agreed.
It's our time.
It's our time. And what you say, it hit home because that's our home. You know what I mean? That's where we're from.
now.
That's what we know. We care about what happened
Facts.
for the next couple of generations. I don't want to be in a space where, like what happened in South Africa, I don't know if you're familiar, but like South Africa don't even belong to the South Africans. I don't want that for our home. And that's why we here screaming. I mean, we're gonna bring entertainers on this platform. We're gonna bring musicians on this platform. But man, like you important. So these kids and everybody else, adults could hear what it is you saying and just and couple it with what it is I saying and what it is he's saying. And then we could really get a grassroots movement going so we could hold our government officials accountable. And we could decide, like, listen, we ain't sitting down and accepting whatever these people give us no more. We're gonna do something about it.
100%.
So really, I really, really, really thankful. Sony, how we looking? Sony, yeah,
You're
Sony,
good. Oh,
man,
you know, you should have told us like, wrap it up. You know what I mean? The smallest portion is the biggest portion. You know what I mean, man? But I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. Like I tell you already, big fan of yours.
Likewise, man.
Know who you was before I know you were about the gathering spot. When I find out that you were, co-founder of the gathering spot, it just take off even more. Like, man, it had to been a reason why I gravitate to the character and it prove it, you know what I mean? And I just appreciate you coming on and kicking that knowledge and having that passion for home, for Black people, young entrepreneurs, Black businesses, creating that space and to me, arguably, the fastest growing city in America, which is Atlanta, creating a gathering spot, well-known place for anybody to go and be a member, Black people could go be a member of. Man, I really appreciate you for the culture and for us as a, you know what I mean? You're an icon already. Wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Heavy words. I give thanks, man. I mean, I just gotta give credit as a distillation of my upbringing and the people around me. One time talking to my cousin, he said, "You think you was you? You was just the combination of all of our ancestors in this farm right now."
Yes, sir.
He was like, "The way you moving is how your grandfather used to move.
Right.
You won't even know that."
Yeah.
Right.
And the precepts and concepts that we have from those around us. So I give thanks to the Virgin community. I feel like I am indebted to them because I am who I am because of the upbringing that I had, because of the life on St. Croix and my grandmother and the family around. And I believe that if you love something, you just sustain it and keep it going.
Right.
And I want to make sure that I'm doing my part to contribute to it. I have my own personal goals and stuff. I won't lie to you and say that I don't have aspirations or certain things. I do want to be someone who is known as a contributing positively to Virgin's history.
Right.
In a sense. I just want to be proud of myself.
Yes, sir.
Of
Right.
the work that I think is important, because it's only me who could really measure my own performance.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
And as long as I feel like we pouring in positively, something positive should shake out.
Definitely.
Yeah, man.
Definitely. We're gonna make something shake. Amazing episode. Like, this was just amazing. I didn't get much to say about this.
Give thanks,
Like,
Kyle. Give thanks, Redman.
Yes, I
Appreciate that I'm creating this platform, man. I think that's the gift of this technology now, that we
Yeah,
can
man.
create niche things. Because before it'd be like, if we're gonna do an island thing, we should probably do like one of the bigger islands or something like that.
Yeah.
But now I'm on tech in charge and ain't waiting for nobody to give no permission.
Right.
Definitely.
And staying active
Definitely.
and staying rooted to home, I think, is a conscious decision that we all make. Everybody don't make.
Mhm.
Because once you move away from some place, it's easy. But
Exactly.
you decide you to invest your own time and dollars into creating experiences and opportunity and commerce. The ultimate thing is to resource one another. Because once you are resourced, then you're able to make decisions for yourself.
Yes,
Right.
So if by us doing business together, now each of us have the time and resource to decide, I want to invest in this, so go on vacation there, do that. Because once you have enough resource, to me, the ultimate thing is to be able to control your time. Like you said, currency.
That's the
Right.
most important
Well,
currency.
it was a very interesting episode on the Caribbean Currency Podcast. Redman was sitting in between two Crucians for the first and last time.
Shout out my Crucians. I a rack man.
For the first
don't
and
say
last
hey, I
time
don't say Hassan,
in
yeah.
Caribbean Currency Podcast. So only do not sit me in the middle again. All right. Bless.
Cut that part.
Love alone.
Yeah, love and love.